sometimes, just sometimes, you tune into a show that you know and something's different. Something's completely different. And well, today that's the whole plan. See, today I've hijacked the show. Rick and I have kind of taken over the show. And while Rick is always managing the show with Christine, I've taken it over and I've hijacked it because I want to interview her. And on her show, of all places to do it, I'm not even interviewing her on my show. I'm interviewing her on her show. And so just to let you know who I am, my name's Tom Adams. I'm a former guest on the show and somebody who's actually very inspired by Christine. And I enjoyed that conversation so much that I communicated with Rick and said, let's do something cool like this. So we're going to interview Christine today. So that's what's going to happen. I'm excited. I don't know where this is all going to go, but I'm excited for what you're going to learn about your amazing host, Christine. So Rick, let's do this.
Welcome to waistUPwardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, an attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade House of Style, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style and dressing them for success. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call waistUPwardrobe. waistUPwardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the waistUPwardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk.
I am so excited that you're here today. I'm so excited to be here today. And I want to introduce you to Christine. She's the founder of a fashion styling company, Jade for All Seasons, based in Newport Beach, California. She's a personal style expert who styles women with head-to-toe wardrobe. She edits closets, creates personalized lookbooks, shops for her clients, or even with them, and gets clients event and season ready. Her styling philosophy and techniques are aimed to style her clients according to who they are and help them to find their style. She shows women how to express themselves through the art of dress up. I am extraordinarily excited to welcome Christine to her show. Christine, welcome.
Hi.
How are you feeling right now? This has got to be weird.
I feel like the tables have definitely turned, but you're a very familiar face because we've had this exchange, just the tables are reversed right now, but I'm actually kind of excited. This is fun.
Good. Okay, so I want you to go back in your mind to 1987.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so I expect, based on just a little bit of research, you're in high school, late high school, probably 12th grade. 11th grade, somewhere in there. I don't want to give away your age because I don't know it, but I'm guessing. So tell me at that point in your life what you're dreaming of. What are you thinking about for this life that's unfolding ahead of you?
Yeah. So in 1987, I was a junior in high school, and I had actually just moved from living abroad for 10 years before that. So I used to live in Egypt in my childhood, and I started school here in the United States in high school my junior year, and my parents put me in public school, and basically I came from an all-girls school in Egypt to a public school with a smoking section.
Wow.
So that year, I was really literally just trying to figure things out, and I had a little bit of culture shock.
I
But
bet.
I mean, I was born in the United States. So, and I had been visiting the United States every summer because my mom's family lived here. So it wasn't like I was a complete foreigner, but definitely when it came to, schooling and all those other things, it was new to me. And I was dreaming of doing really great in school because where I came from, it was really hard to get through even elementary school. Just the workload was a lot. And I was dreaming of becoming an architect. That's what I wanted to do.
Okay. And so where did that impetus come from? Where did the architect impetus, where did that seed come from?
Yeah. I really was I was a very creative person from a very young age, and that was, I thought, one of my gifts, and I wanted to create things, and I wanted to create aesthetically pleasing things, and buildings fascinated me. I thought that it was just so beautiful. They were like these massive sculptures, and I wanted to be able to create that one day or design it or contribute to the making of it. I think it was the artist in me that that is what I wanted to do. I wanted to create
Mm,
something and build. And I also have this really weird, strange affinity to the idea of home. I Home is such an important thing for me. That's why my business is called the Jade House of Style, because
mm,
house, home are just really I just feel like everything's in the heart of the home, and having a home and creating a home is like so impactful when it's done with a good spirit living in the home and just really good energy. So that's a building.
right.
Yeah.
So what's that combination? So you're young and this sense of buildings inspires you, but is there a building in your history that somehow feels like home that also inspired the artistic side of you that merged those two sort of elements in your life, that sense of home and the importance of home, but also this desire to draw, to build a structure, to design a structure. What's the model in your head for that? Like I'm intrigued by where that seed is coming from.
Yeah. Well, I think you're asking me a question I've never thought about before, and I don't know what the answer is, but what I do know is that I have a very close affinity to historical buildings, to
Mm,
um this doesn't sound really strange, but to the way people lived during the times when, like, Jesus was walking earth, okay?
okay. Yeah.
Because am continuously, it's just that old world feel that I really appreciate. The patinaed buildings, the patinaed stairs, the
Mm,
limestone that is aged, and I think it's because, um, it has a character that shows that it stood the test of time,
yeah.
and I feel like that is kind of symbolic of resilience even in human beings, like,
Yeah.
standing the test of time. Those old historical kind of patinaed buildings are, a little bit rusted, maybe a little bit mossy in some places, maybe a little bit worn away in others. There that those are there's no one particular
Yeah.
building that's inspired me,
Okay.
but it's just that feel, that historical feel of buildings.
Well, I can only and I can imagine the dissonance, and maybe there's a better word for that, between seeing the American buildings and then going back to Egypt through your growing up years and seeing, one of the oldest civilizations
Yeah.
and coming to one of the newest ones and watching, that the distinctions between those two, and I don't know how that factors in, but to me that's an interesting element of it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a really good inference because I do like the juxtaposition
Yeah.
of old and new,
Mm.
rough and shiny. Like, I love that. Like, when somebody asks me, how would you define your style?" I often say, "I'm like the feminine warrior." Like,
Mm.
I like being feminine, and I like being, putting on fancy earrings, and I like the bows and all that stuff, but I'm also a warrior. Like, I like going in and getting dirty in the gym, and, so I like that juxtaposition in
Yeah.
life, that almost that yin and yang in
Yeah.
one being.
Okay. So you get through your junior year and you go into your senior year in high school. Was that in Southern California? Where was that?
Yes, it was in Southern California, uh-huh.
Okay. So then you decide you're going to university. And I'm just following your LinkedIn profile, so that's the best I've got here. So you go to university. What do you choose? Because architecture is the thing in your sort of dreams to do buildings, to do cool buildings. What's the choice you make in terms of university? Where do you decide to go to college?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a whole lot of choice at that time.
Mm,
Very traditional family. My dad was sort of the king of the household,
yep.
and I didn't have a choice of where to go for university. I
Mm,
got very fortunate. I thought we lived in Orange County, and UCI, University of California in Irvine, was a very nearby university. And basically, I only applied to like 3 schools, including UCI. And UCI was really close. And my dad said, "You're going there." I said, "Okay, okay, Dad," because I was a pretty obedient kid. And I
So
went there.
did you have the choice of what program you took? You just had to go to that school, or was there, okay,
I had a choice of the program,
got it.
but my
Okay.
choices were limited at UCI. They didn't have an architecture program. So I thought, okay, how do I solve this? I've always been a problem solver. So okay, so the way to solve this
We
for
have
me,
frozen. Christine is frozen.
I am. Oh boy,
You froze on us there for a second.
am I still frozen?
You're back. You're back.
Okay.
We're good. We're good. So,
Oh, and there's somebody, I'm sorry, now I'm hijacking my show back because there's a comment in the, so Amani is a childhood friend from
oh,
Egypt.
hi, Amani. That's so cool.
I know, it's so exciting. Um, and so she's seen a first phase of my life. So
We're getting some freezing up in this right now. So I'm not
are we
sure what's happening, but
still?
Amani's with us, so that's cool.
Okay, good, good. Are we
Yep.
still frozen?
No, you're back. You're
Okay.
back. But just for a couple of seconds there, you went into freeze mode. But so let's keep going because so you go into what program do you start at UCI?
Yeah. So I couldn't, there was no architecture program. So I thought to myself, okay, how do I solve this problem? I'm going to go to the next best thing, the closest thing to it. Well, let's just do civil engineering. I just kind of basically said, as a civil engineer, civil engineers work with architects. I'll have both. I'll go to architecture school later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you do this degree, you get your civil engineering degree, and then do you go out and get a job doing that? What's the evolution of where you go from there?
Well, too much to my surprise, civil engineering is very different than architecture. Civil engineering is a very technical, very, you know, technical process, subject matter, and
Yeah.
and road, whereas architecture is more of an
Yes.
artistry and more creative. So I had to use my other side of my brain that I wasn't expecting to use. And I don't start something and not finish it. I first year was rough, but I did fine. I got through it. My dad even tried to convince me to go into art history instead. I said, no, I started this. I'm finishing it because they did
Mm.
offer art history. And I got my degree and I graduated with a really good GPA, but I did not enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
Then I applied to architecture school for USC and I got in.
Architecture school. So do you actually go to architecture school?
No.
Oh, okay. So this story gets deeper. So you've got your civil engineering degree, you apply to architecture school, and then you don't go at USC of all places, which is a pretty good school.
And I got in. That was
And
the
you got in, but you don't go. So what happens? What transpires?
well, my dad, I was the obedient daughter. He was the king of the household. He said, yeah, you'll never make any money being an architect. You need to go to law school. So I said, okay, Dad. Went to law
Oh,
school.
so you go to law school.
Yeah.
And where do you go to law school?
So I went to law school literally on a whim. It was a summer. I was planning on going to architecture school. I thought
Right.
that was where I was going. So I applied beginning of summer. I got into Western State. It was here in Orange County, and now it's the main campus is in San Diego. And I got in and I went.
And so did you perform at the high level in law school, or was that boring too? Did it feel like it was, ugh, why am I doing this? Or did you actually jump in like a warrior and do this thing?
Yeah, I jumped in like a warrior and did it. But I will say that parts of it I did enjoy. I did enjoy parts of it. I didn't want to do it. I mean, I would say 30% of it, because when I came out of law school, I enjoyed the negotiating deals. I enjoyed doing depositions and asking people questions. That's why I love to interview people, I think. So there are aspects of the law I really enjoyed, but it wasn't my gift. I
Mm.
didn't want to keep doing it forever.
So as you're in school, are you pining for architecture, or is there something else emerging in you through this process?
I am pining still for my first dream of architecture. And but I'm now down a different path. And at this point, I was um, I was engaged to be married, and I had a different path I was going to follow once I started a family.
Mm. Got it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I noticed an interesting gap in your LinkedIn resume.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's not a gap so much as it's massive transformative experience that is stuck in those gaps. So, tell me a little bit about you leave your attorney world, you leave your legal work and become a mom. Tell me the experience of being a mom for the first time. What's it like to become a mom? What's it like for Christine to become a mom for the very first time?
Well, I will tell you that that to me was the most significant, most important job to me
Mm-hmm.
that I've ever held to be a mom,
Yep.
because I view it as, I mean, moms all around the world sacrifice, whether they decide to work inside or out of the
Yep.
home or do both or whatever. But to stay home and give up furthering your own identity as an educated person, it takes a lot. So a lot of people do that, and I don't think the culture understands how important that really is.
Yeah.
To me, if you are responsible for molding and shaping and directing and guiding the character of human beings and then launching them into the world, um, I think that's a very significant job for our society.
Oh, it's huge, and that's why I asked you how did it feel, because you come out of, I can only imagine, a very strong family structure, right? With you've already talked about your dad, but tell me a little bit about your mom.
Oh, well, I have a huge soft spot for my mom. She is she's a quite an amazing woman.
Mm,
Um, she is not your typical mom or woman that you think, like, she's not doesn't do all the things outwardly that we view as, oh, nurturing, but she is the strongest woman I know. She smart, practical, sometimes too practical. We've been through a few storms together, her and
I bet.
and she's solid and a warrior and forgiving
Mm,
in a way that is really not like somebody that is a pushover, but forgiving in a way that's practical. I don't know if
mm,
that's a little bit hard to explain, but I can with an example or something later if you want. So
okay.
she's pretty
So
remarkable.
so this amazing mom of yours is kind of riding shotgun as your mentor as you become a mom, and this role of being a mom is, as you've said, is transformative to you. So what are some of the things? So you come out of this history of law and engineering and architecture, and how's that begin to shape you being a mom? Like what's that piece of your story bring to your momness?
Ah, so this is what I'll say. Somebody told me this once, but when you educate a woman, you educate an entire family.
Yeah.
You educate a man, you educate a man, which is important, but the woman's education has a ripple effect because people told me all the time, "Wow, you have all that education, you're staying home?" It's a very interesting perspective, right?
Yeah.
Um, but it doesn't go deep enough to what the job role really is. So, um, because I was that educated, I was able to rear my children and guide them in ways that I believe were different. And every woman has her own different experience that she brings to the table that allows her to pour into her kids a perspective and education
Yeah.
that's different. So I think that everything I had done to that point contributed to every little step I did with my children for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So somewhere during this mumming, this motherhood, this role that you take on, that you embrace, fully embrace, this stylist starts to show up. So tell me when the stylist begins to emerge out of this world that you have constructed, with being a mom, but somewhere in there, there's as I think about your story, you're somebody who wants to design stuff, who wants to create stuff, who wants to build things, and yet somewhere in there, in the years of being a mom, this sense of styling happens. And I don't know I'd be interested to know what are the triggers, what are the seeds that are sprouting that create this new passion of yours.
Yeah, which might bring us to my why.
Okay.
Um, the stylist emerges in me because of motherhood.
Mm.
Motherhood really did bring that out in me. I'll tell you why. Um, Throughout the 10 years I was raising the children before I started my business, 10 to 12 years, what I noticed was that so many of my peers, women in my circle, neglected themselves. They thought they dressed the kids really cute and took care of the kids' activities and took them places and all this stuff, and didn't really, sometimes they would say, "I didn't shower," and I understand that because I was in the trenches too. I get that, the time. Or I didn't want to dress up anymore, didn't wanna go on a date night anymore, or didn't wanna put a little bit of makeup on, or, something to make themselves feel great. And, because they said, "You know what? Kids look great, they're happy, I'm good."
Right.
And I thought to myself, "No. No, 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 no. Ladies, listen, you need to do this for yourself. This is part of your self-care because you are the heart of what makes all this tick. And your significant other shouldn't have the benefit of everything and then you letting yourself go too. Like, no, like you need to do this for yourself, but you
Yeah.
also need it to do it because everybody around you will be happier when they see you in that way that you take care of yourself." And so it was actually born out of a mission because of stay-at-home moms I saw that sacrificed to the bones.
Yeah.
Like, don't do that. Like, I know that. I understand that, but don't do that because we are capable of taking care of the kids, working in and out of the house, serving the community, going to the church, do all those things. Why can't we just do a little bit to elevate ourselves?
So this impetus in you is by seeing it in others, them not doing it for the. So how are you doing this for you? Because the way you actually are able to share it is you got to do it. And so what were you doing to do that for yourself? What was, because there's a seed of the styling starting to happen in there. So what's the thing you're doing for you through this process?
Well, I always really valued taking care of my health and my
Mm.
fitness. I didn't even quit working out when I was pregnant. I really tried to stay really fit because I felt as though that gave me a lot of strength and I needed the strength to take care of the kids. I always related it to the children. Like, I'm taking care of myself because that gives me the strength to take care of them. So I did these things for myself. I got dressed up. I arranged date nights. I did those things because I wanted to feel like I was still living. That having kids is a wonderful, beautiful, joyful thing. And it's
Yeah.
hard and it's
Yeah.
not easy to carve out the time for yourself. But like everything else, you need to do just a little bit of it. So I was doing it for myself, but I will say too that that even though that's my superficial why, my why goes a little deeper than that, and it does relate to motherhood. But I'll let you ask me the questions.
So what's the why? Because you've mentioned that twice now. So it's like hovering there. So
Yeah.
what is that? What is that deeper thing that pushes you?
Yeah. So um the women that I love to serve, wanted because they nurtured everybody else and they were the mother for everybody else, I wanted to be their mother. I wanted to be the one who dressed them up and put them in front of the mirror and they felt beautiful.
Mm,
And it was very rewarding to have somebody that doesn't really spend a lot of time thinking about or fussing about herself and putting her in front of the mirror and she goes, "Oh my God." I walked down, my husband said, "Oh my God, you look so hot." That is reward for me. And I started seeing these transformations and these feelings and the emotional vibration of these women getting lifted. And when I go back deeper into why I do this, yes, I do it for these women, but I also do it because I grew up seeing my mom really sacrifice herself.
mm, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I wished that as a daughter, I just wish she would have taken care of herself just a little bit because it would have made me more happy to
Yeah.
see her happy. I
Right.
don't think moms realize just how much that means to the kids. And so really my deeper why goes down to my childhood, and that is that I wish mom would have taken care of herself a little bit better.
Yeah.
She does a better job now, but
Right. So it's a thing to have this deeper sense of our history connected to I wish my mom. And there's this other part of you which says I really love to see a woman light up when she sees herself as beautiful, when she experiences what it's like to look after herself. But that's a very different thing from having a business to do it. So what sort of takes you down the path of going, this is something that I have a deep gift in. This is something that I can offer to people in a way that's not just helping my friend out who needs some encouragement. So what transpired that takes you from this inner why, this inner sense of it, to actually doing it in a more business style way? Like what drives that?
yeah. So it's a great question because I had a lot of thinking around this. I knew as I was a stay-at-home mom, I knew that one day I was gonna do something different. I was never going back to the law if I didn't have to. I was gonna do something different, and it was gonna be a creative thing. And I so many ideas, like, the women, the moms got together, we came up with these business ideas because, stay-at-home moms do these things
Right.
where they wanna create a business. I mean, I went through, maybe I'll go become an interior designer. Maybe I'll bake bread and deliver it to mailboxes, like things like that.
Yeah.
But I was always a creative at heart. I expressed my creativity through doing things, projects with the kids and school stuff, and I volunteered at school and all that. And that's creativity is like me breathing. Like,
Mm.
in order for me to feel alive, I need to be creative. So that was something I really needed to have in whatever work I did. Coupled with the fact that my friends used to ask me to go shopping with them because they valued my sense of style,
Yeah.
coupled with the fact that I liked to style myself and I enjoyed clothes and I enjoyed putting things together, coupled with the fact that everybody around me was doing interior design, and I was like, "I'm not gonna do what everybody else is doing. This doesn't make any like, I don't wanna do the same thing
Right.
everybody else is doing." Coupled with the fact that I really had a sincere desire to make another woman feel beautiful.
Yes.
Um, One day I realized I'm gonna build outfits for women. I'm gonna build outfits for them. And then I threw a I did all these things against my nature because I'm always pretty calculated. Like I think about what I'm gonna do, I plan, but I just took a risk, threw a big party, invited everybody I knew, and I made a lot of money doing this. And I was like, wait a minute, there might be something there.
Oh, so interesting. That's delightful. It's funny how in business, the marketplace is always deciding for you, and it's like you took this opportunity, you stepped out into it, and the marketplace said, "Oh yeah, yeah, do this for us, help us. We need help." That's beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
Yeah.
was beautiful, but it was very rewarding because at the time I was really struggling with, am I starting on a road that is a very superficial road where we're talking about clothes and accessories and things like that. Is this a, because I don't think I'm a superficial person. So I needed it to align with myself and my
Hmm.
values. But what I realized is clothes are just the tool. They're just the tool to take somebody, put great clothes on them and transform the inside, bring out the confidence, bring out the emotional vibration. Now that's deep. So I realized, wait a minute, no, I can't go down that path because that's not my intention. My intention is to use the clothes as a merely as a tool to make them feel great.
So what's the obstacle? Because I think that opens up such a to me that the real essence of how you change people's lives. It's not the clothes; it's what you do to the person who puts on the clothes. So what are the obstacles you face when you sit with or talk to a woman for the first time? What are the things that you run into beyond styling that you have to address to actually allow them to actually enjoy the experience of putting on really delightful clothes?
Wow, that is a very good question because, um, I mean, I've had a client once tell me I put on these great outfits on her, and she said, "Sometimes I feel like the clothes are too good for me."
Mm.
We need to do a lot of inside work to
Oh
get
yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the things that come up are that people who haven't really ever invested in themselves in that way feel a little bit of guilt because they feel like clothes are a superficial thing. But when they realize through the process that it is more about the confidence that's coming out and that they are highlighting their best features um, in the most authentic way, because it's
Hmm.
not like you're going to get plastic surgery. It's not like you're actually just taking what you have and working with it. So they go through that transformation if they're not used to doing this. The other challenges are a lot of my clients will say, "Well, I need to ask my husband first," which I think is really important. Obviously, if you're making an investment in yourself, you want to make sure that your partner is willing. But oftentimes the husbands are like, "Yes, like I want that for you."
Yeah.
And but I think us as women sometimes we think that we just sell ourselves short, I think.
Yeah. So uh, often I find in the work I do as a coach that I have to go somewhere before I can take somebody with me.
Mm.
Right? I have to. So, where did you get those instincts in yourself? Because I know you said you're a warrior and you always looked after yourself and you chose to dress up, but inevitably, all of us face those inner demons that we run into when we look in the mirror. So, what work did you have to do to find the capacity or the capability or the ability to help share that with somebody else when you're facing that in them in the styling process? Like where what did you have to learn yourself through the journey?
Well, would it be surprising to say that it really came naturally to me to love on some people like that. Like I just it
Mm,
was sincerely just deep reward. It made me feel rewarded to make another woman feel that great. And I think that comes from I just like something that really bothered me as a kid and as a teenager was that just like I valued so much this role of womanhood and motherhood,
yeah.
just seeing my mom and other women. And I always thought that do the partners that these women have really value all the invisible things that these women do to make their lives better?
Mm,
And
because of that, sometimes I saw that wasn't the case, and not intentionally. It's just the way
Yep.
life goes, and
Yep.
people, they take things for granted and all that. So nothing, not in a really negative way, but I felt as though as a woman, you need to make yourself so like take care of yourself so well that that nobody could say to you, "Oh, I'm not into you because you don't look great or because I'm not attracted to you." You needed to stay on top of that because that became an excuse for a lot of people I saw, like
Mm.
that
Yep.
whose husbands maybe neglected their wives or whose husbands weren't kind to them or generous with them or things like that. It
Mm.
bothered me. I didn't like it. I don't like it when I see a couple when the husband is not loving and kind to their wives.
Yeah.
That really bothers me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know that from being on your show and watching your show, you always allow your guest to actually make an offer. And I just thought this was a good time because you've just hit on something to me which is really profound, which is the need all of us have to have somebody in our lives who sees something that we can't. So tell me your offer for today and what your hashtag is to support that offer.
Yeah, so hashtag smile and shine. With the hashtag smile and shine, I actually am offering a strategy session, a style strategy session where we'll go and audit what you already have and see how we can bring out your style.
All
So,
right, I think it'd be a really, really cool thing for anyone who's watching to take advantage of that because I just know from the conversation already how powerful not just the wardrobe is, the wardrobe process, the styling process is, but the actual encounter with you will change somebody. So, um, let's shift a little bit. So, if you sort of take this whole life that you've experienced, I'm interested in what are your superpowers? Like if we sort of stripped it all away, we took all this other stuff away, and you're a mom, you're a stylist, you're a athlete, you're all these things. But what's your superpower? And by superpower, I mean what's the thing that you do extraordinarily well that everybody else goes, my gosh, Christine will do it, she can do it, and to you it's easy. It's just like you put it on and you can leap tall buildings in a single bound. What's that thing in you?
uh, I think that thing is my real strong ability to nurture
Mm,
not just children, but people. I always treat people, and this has been a philosophy of mine, to treat people that I encounter and care for or serve or whatever as my children.
mm,
I feel like, and that's why sometimes I call myself their fairy godmother, because I truly look at human beings as if each human being cared for other human beings as their own children, we would be like a really caring society. And that comes naturally to me. I really feel uh, I love people. I really, really love people,
mm,
and I love bringing out the best in them if I can do that, and I love nurturing people, covering them, caring for them. So, of course, as a mom, being a mom was natural to me. But being the mom of my clients, I told my mom once, I said, I feel like I'm their mom. She's like, well, you're not their mom. I said, I know, but that's how I feel. And I would say that strong ability and to do that, to nurture somebody that isn't really related to you, I would say that's my superpower. I don't know if that's, what that is it. That is it.
delightful, delightful. So if that's your superpower, what's your kryptonite?
So define kryptonite. I know I've heard the term, but I just want to make sure I answer this.
No, but like a superpower is that capability you have in you, and in Superman's case, the when kryptonite was close by, which is a substance that's close by, it's like when that substance is around, that like you lose all strength. And it's maybe defined as the part of you that isn't the rock star, the part of you that isn't got it all together all the time. What's the part of you that allows us to know you're human?
Well, I would say it's I can't uh the emotional side of me, but just like it is my weakness, it's also my strength.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
there's something very strange about being a sensitive person, is that you feel so deeply, but you hurt so deeply too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that I know triggered something. So there's a piece in you that is to me extraordinarily vulnerable and connected to that emotional side of life that I think makes you so good at what you do and helping people to see it in themselves. Is that sense that there is beauty there underneath what they're doing to themselves and how they're doing it. Um, One of the things I discovered in sort of digging in on your life is you are a warrior. And I like I watched a little bit of your Instagram feed and I went, oh my gosh, you're crazy. Like the I watched you in the gym pulling yourself up a rope and all kinds of stuff. Where like that part of you, there's that warrior part of you. Tell me more about what it means to go to the gym on a regular basis. And you know, as we get older, going to the gym is harder and harder. That is hard work. But what's that thing inside of you that pushes you to keep going back to the hard place? The gym is a hard place in my opinion. I go there frequently myself and man, I don't love it. I love how it makes me feel, but what's the thing in you that gives you that warrior spirit when you go to the gym and when you run a 5K run and when you do all those kind of crazy things I've watched you do on your Instagram feed?
Yeah. I've always been a person that pushes myself, whether it's mentally or physically or whatever. As a child living in Egypt, I never had the opportunity to become an athlete. And I know that
Okay.
if I had the opportunity, I'd have been an amazing athlete. So I decided to become an athlete when I had control over my life when I was older. So I just wanted to be able to move my body and prove that I could do
Mm.
a lot of these things. The other thing is that I'm just the type of person, there's the fight or flight, and I walk right into the fire. That's
Oh,
just how I am. Whether it's I mean, I do things with a lot of fear. I will tell you, a lot of those things are very, very fearful for me, but I do it because I walk right into it and I want to conquer it.
yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Well, we've learned a lot about you, but sometimes I just like asking random crazy questions just to figure out other parts of you. So I'm just going to throw a bunch of random questions at you that are meant for fun. You don't have to answer them if you don't want, but just to help your audience know you a bit more. And I'm guessing that your existing audience probably knows some of these, but I don't know if they know because I don't know them because even though I searched on them, I couldn't find them. So Mac or PC?
Mac, 100%.
Got it. Cat or dog?
Dogs.
Dog. Okay. What was the first question you asked Chat GPT?
How do I, how can I style something 10 ways, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it was about your actual your profession.
Yeah.
What's one exercise that you hate the most, but you know you have to do no matter what?
Oh, Bulgarian squats. I hate them.
Oh, I'm 100% with you. I hate Bulgarian squats. What's one book that has impacted you the most in your life? Just pick one as of today. And I know there's probably lots of them, but what's one that stands out to you?
Well, I have to be honest. I'm handwriting a full copy of the Holy Bible. So I'm gonna say it's that. I know that sounds, not expected, but that really is
Wow.
what's impacted me the most.
Wow.
And I read
That's
a lot of books. I do. I love entrepreneurial books, but, I mean, I could name a ton, but I would say if I had to choose one book, it would be that.
okay. If you could style a celebrity that you aren't currently working with, who would it be?
Ugh, mm, I would love to I would love to work, like, with J.Lo. I love her, and I think she already has amazing style and an amazing stylist, and there is one celebrity I think could use a better stylist, um, but maybe I shouldn't say.
Hashtag you need help.
Actually, I could think of 2 of them, but
okay. So, but you're not going to say. Okay.
No.
All right. You'd love to work with J-Lo. All right. What's something, and I suspect that people know this, but sometimes there's another thing. What are you irrationally passionate about that almost no one knows about?
Oh,
What's the secret little rabbit hole that you live in that nobody is aware of?
yeah. I think it's that, when I read a book, I pull on all my ways of learning. I learn it with auditory, with kinesthetic, and with visual way. So this is what I do when I'm reading a book. I listen to the book on tape while I'm reading it, and I annotate my book like crazy. My books are all annotated.
Right.
So people don't know that about me. In fact, my kids didn't know about me. My son saw me annotating a book once, and he goes, "You annotate your books?" I'm like, "Yes, it's the juice. I'm squeezing the juice out of the words."
Oh, so good. So good. Which is my sense, if you're actually writing the Bible by hand, that's part of it for you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Connecting to that.
yeah.
All right. So at the end of every show that you do, you ask for one major takeaway. So let's start with that. What's your one major takeaway from our conversation?
You know, I need to sit down and go more in depth into my story. I have this vision as part of my vision board that I will be writing a book one day. And it's
Mm,
always been a dilemma. Should it be a style guide? Should it be a personal story? Should it be client stories? And so I really need to do some brainstorming around that. But if I were to offer the audience a takeaway, I would say, um, you know, if you have a podcast or you're a business owner, which most of my listeners are, try to get somebody to interview you
yes.
because that's
Yes.
pretty cool. It's a different
Yes.
perspective.
Do you have a tip to offer?
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about a tip, like personal tip, I really feel as though the thing that centers me the most is that I have a ritual, like a routine I follow in the morning, and I'm getting more and more really solid in my routine. And I will say it just sets me up for the day. And I have simple things on my list because then I feel accomplished, like making my bed,
Yep.
taking my vitamins are the first two things I do in the morning. But I have like a list that I go through for my routine.
Got it. What's a tool that maybe you've never shared with your audience that you should share?
Well, I have a tool that I have shared with my audience that I think is really great. It's Trello. I do everything through Trello. I have my vision board on Trello. I have a board for every part. If I'm thinking of a new project, I put it on Trello, and it's amazing how great and easily organized it is. And I've done a whole show on how to use Trello. So that would be like my favorite tool of all, really.
I am 100% with you. One of the things I do with a lot of my clients is when we start working together, I create a Trello board about them,
Yeah.
and what are their what are their things, what's all about them. A board that represents them for them, and that often when we're talking together, that Trello board becomes part of the conversation. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's really cool to hear that. And is there an action item you recommend coming out of our conversation?
Well, an action item, yes. I think it's really important for people to think about what their biggest dream is,
Mm,
and
yes.
have a vision board. I did not being coming from such a technical background, being a lawyer and all
Yep.
that, in the professions, in those types of professions, doctor, lawyer, dentist, you never think about those things. You're not
Yeah.
told in school, think about your biggest dream. It's basically you go to school, you get out, you take the boards or the bar, and you go work. But thinking about your biggest dream can be so much better.
Yeah.
And that's how entrepreneurs live. So when I started my business, I had no idea about thinking about my biggest dream and visualizing anything. And then being an entrepreneur and being around other entrepreneurs, I saw how they did that. And I thought, why doesn't anybody ever do that in real life? Like we should have a class in school about
Right.
that.
Right.
Because when you put goals ahead of you, in front of you, every day it's in your brain and you're taking one more step towards that, whether you know it or not. subconsciously you're doing it. So why not put that in front of you? So I think having a vision for your life, having a dream is really important. I've asked people, what's your dream business like? And they said, I never thought about that. It's yeah. And I ask my kids all the time. Always talking about dreams. So yeah,
Yeah.
that would
One of
be
the
it.
questions I ask all my clients in alignment with that is, if I could sprinkle magic fairy dust on your life, what would it look like? What's the life that would be created if we could do that in your life? And yeah, it's a way to extract a dream that sometimes you never give yourself permission to do.
Yeah. Well, my dream really is to be significant, to leave a legacy.
Mhm.
Not if I leave the earth and when I leave the earth, um, I want to know I left something important behind. And that's
Yeah.
why motherhood is so important to me because I want to leave a bit of myself in my kids to contribute to the world. So the fairy dust would look like that I have significance. I've contributed in a way that had a ripple effect, that in ways that I might know and ways that I might not know, that I've inspired people in different areas of their lives, whether it was they saw a video of me working out or they saw something that would elevate their mood or they got a parenting tip or something like that, that I've actually kind of spread that for people to leave an imprint on them. Like I want to be able to leave an imprint on the earth.
Yeah.
And then as far as just my life, um, I just want to sit back and admire the work I put into my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that you have, with only two conversations, major league inspired me. So thank you for that. And it's our job today to bring this conversation to a conclusion. And generally, you're the one who kind of wraps up a conclusion like this. But since this is your show and I've hijacked it, I would give a conclusion and my conclusion, but I'm going to ask you to sort of finalize this or add to it. But my conclusion would be that that sometimes into your life come people that have a transformative effect on you, and it's really important that you be open to the people that show up that could significantly change your world. And a lot of times we miss that. These I don't know, I sometimes call them angels walking around us. And a lot of times we're stuck in our life and stuck in our head and stuck in our stuff and stuck in our own, crap. And a lot of times these amazing people show up in your world. And if you miss that chance to connect and create something of value, then you miss that. You miss that really cool opportunity. And I think of that old movie Sliding Doors, and
My favorite movie.
is it? Oh, that's so cool. And I just want to say that I'm really glad that the doors slid so that you and I connected, because you're an incredible rock star, and I can only imagine the impact you make on everybody's life that you encounter and connect with and style and leave your mum imprint on. So it's actually a delight to hear your story, to dig in terms of what makes you so special and the depth of the character that you bring to the world. And so thank you, Christine, for giving me the chance to hang out with you on your show about you.
Well, I really appreciate it. It was so fun and exciting, and it actually it made my day to know that somebody was interested in doing this. So I really appreciate that. And I'm just going to add my conclusion because this is my show after all.
Yes, it is. Yes. And I hand it back to you at this point.
um, so I guess I want to leave just piggybacking on what you said is that it's no secret that I have a relationship with God and I am very open about it, but I am not open in a way that is preachy. Like I
Hmm.
only want people to see me in action and see the spirit of God in me to feel that instead of me preaching and talking about God. I don't do that. But I will say that I know God loves me, and I'm going to say why I'm saying this. I don't want to sound preachy, but this is why. Because I every time there was a turning point in my life, or something happened, or a joy, or something that was kind of a setback, I always saw it as God really, there's a reason for it. Sometimes the setbacks were so intense that I thought, why is God doing this? I thought, I know He loves me. Why is He doing this? Why did He bring this person into my life if this person was going to affect it negatively or be
Mm,
unkind or that kind of thing? But what I realized is that we are all loved by God, whether we're doing the right thing or doing the wrong thing or whatever. God loves us all. We are all His children. And sometimes people bring people into your life because it brings them into my life because He's trying to help me. But what I didn't realize when things happened to me that I didn't really like, that I was in that person's life for them because that is God's person too.
mm.
And even though it brought me tears or sadness, I was in that person's life for a reason, just like God's always put great people in my path for a reason. So, I don't know if that
Beautiful.
makes sense.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Well, this has been a delight, and thank you for letting me hijack your show. And Rick, thank you for working with me to hijack this show, and really honor you, Christine, for the amazing impact you're making on this world. So thank you. Thank you for
Tom.
letting me be a part of this today.
Thank you, Tom. I'm so excited. I love that we got to connect again. Thank you. Hi,
Hi.
that was great. I hope that I didn't get so woo woo with on it, but
I think you deserve to be woo woo. I
well,
think your woo woo is really good woo woo. So keep sharing your woo woo.
well, thank you, Tom. That was such a great idea and such a great of you to take time to do that. I really appreciate it. And are you in the life coaching industry? Is that your line of work?
No, I'm in the executive coaching.
Executive coaching, yeah.
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
I
I do a lot of life coaching, but my focus is executives and CEOs, and I help them with their businesses and leadership. But I often it morphs into life coaching because I see a lot of business problems as personal problems in disguise. And
right.
no, that's my focus. And but I have to say that when we had our conversation, I just felt this kindred spirit connection to you, and whatever that means sometimes. But I just feel like sometimes you gotta connect that dot again, and so no, I sensed in you someone of deep, profound values and commitment to life that's different than a lot of people I talk to. And so I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to honor that in you, and this is a really cool way to do that. And I feel like a lot of times we do these things to try and help other people, and while we share ourselves, sometimes what happens is nobody goes exploring us with our audiences. And I think sometimes when people get a glimpse other parts of who you are, not just the interviewer and not just the professional, but the story of you. And I would highly encourage you to dig into your story. There's something really profound there. There's something there that gives you this life you have, but has deep resonance to it that connects with people. Some of the challenges, some of the history. I think your back and forth between Egypt and the U.S. is powerful. There's something there that you can draw on. that will really help people?
Yeah, sometimes I feel like I was from another era
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
I often get misunderstood, because and even, like, with my soon to be ex, like, I would say, "Well, I did it that way." He goes, "Yeah, not everybody does it like that." So, I guess I have a hard time you get what you see. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to take care of myself, but I don't consider myself a superficial person,
No.
So people oftentimes think, "Oh, you're just a stylist," but,
No, no. Well, that to me was the dramatic difference. And I mean, I've had not unlike yourself, a very deep and difficult and sometimes profound life in my own way. And I don't know, it just seems to resonate when I find people when I meet people who have been through those kind of deep waters. Um, and I feel like part of that is borne out in your story and in the lessons of that story for you. And a lot of times, what we don't do is we don't take the time to um, really understand those pieces and how they shape us and how they help other people. And there's some really that those imprints are there, but they're there in my belief with somebody like you for a reason. They're there as a conduit to help other people because you've processed stuff that most people haven't processed. It's why you do what you do. But sometimes that ability to understand it and make sense of it and have a way to talk about it gives people permission to talk about their funky stories.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And, I feel as though, like, I'm a happy person, like, I
Yeah.
want to be joyful. So whatever the circumstances, you gotta find the silver lining.
Yeah. 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 Well,
So we do a speedy recap at the end, so I need Rick to come on here and tell me what he thinks we should do for the speedy recap, or if we should do a speedy recap. There's Rick peeking out.
Yeah. We should do. Yeah, you should do one.
So I was thinking we do a speedy recap where we're talking to each other or something, like, me and Tom,
Yeah.
or like maybe I wonder if we could open with, because the speedy recap goes like this, Tom. Usually it's sort of the intro. Like I'll say, have you ever wondered how to get your sales up and your bottom line up, but you don't know how to do it? And there's these little tricks that you need to know. So today on the show, I have a guest who is going to share blah 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 so that you can blah blah blah. And then we cut to the branding logo, and then it comes back, and then I do a little speedy summary of the four summary of the takeaway, the tip, the tool, um and the action item. But I'm trying to figure out how we should do it. Maybe it should just be an exchange between me and Tom saying, "Hey," like he did on his show, say, "Hey, I want to interview you." And I'm like, "Me? Why you want to interview me? I'm going to interview you on your show." And I'm like, "You're going to hijack my show?" And he's going to say, "Yeah, can I do that?" And then something like that. Rick, could we do something like that?
That would
Like,
be good because then that's like a pre-play for the
yeah.
show, right?
yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than kind of going through the details, what you're going to get out of this.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Yeah.
want to just leak what you're going to talk. If there's a like one or two tidbits that you can kind of center around, but not give the answer to.
Uh-huh. Me
You
or
know,
Tom?
no, I'm talking about Tom,
Okay.
right? But I like your idea about kind of doing a. It's
Yeah.
almost like this, you're this is a pre-sell to the show.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. And I
I
think
like that idea. That's good.
Tom could be the first to speak, and it could be like, "I just got interviewed by you, Christine, but I want to interview you." And then I can respond to that. And
Hmm.
then like
Yeah, I'll
and
have you both on there so that way
yeah,
guys can kind of play off of each other.
let's have a conversation basically, but we have to keep this short and
Quick.
sweet.
Right.
So we can do the exchange, and then you'll cut, and then it cuts to what's the next part? So I get the open. You know how, Rick, we have the open, and then we have the final part. How should we summarize the final part? I guess Tom would do that.
Just the overarching message, I guess, right?
All right, maybe Tom has an idea.
Well, I want to. We really dig in on who you are in your life. We really explore who Christine is and what her life is all about in a way that normally you would never see or hear, because this is her show.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that work, Rick?
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Do you have a clear? Well, then you want to handle the ending then, Christine?
Okay, sure. I'll figure something out.
We'll just make it happen. And how long are we going for? 30 seconds? 40 seconds?
You can do a minute, but I can edit this. So if there's any hiccups, we can always edit this part.
Yeah. So we are live. Just so you know, Tom, we're still live because we let people see the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But so just so you know, but we can stop or make a mistake, then we can just start over. So
yeah.
No worries about that.
All right, I'm going to come out of here, and then you guys can go.
So, Christine, you interviewed me already, and I wanted to interview you. So I just decided I was going to hijack the show, and I talked to Rick, and we can do that. And so that's what we're going to do.
You're going to interview me?
Yes.
But it's my show.
I know, but isn't that cool? I actually get to hijack it and interview you on your show, which was really weird, because normally I interview you on my show or other people interview on their show, but I'm interviewing you on your show. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, you want to hijack my show? Go for it. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Love it. Let's do this.
All right.
So perfect. That's good for part one. Yep, that's good for the open.
Yeah.
And then go for it.
So today we're going to really deeply explore Christine's life, her world, her history, her experience, stuff that you might never, ever get on this show with Christine. So I'm excited to really peel back the curtain and dig in deep on Christine's life.
So this episode of 143 is about Ask Me Anything, right? You're going to ask me the questions and turn the tables on me. And guess what? There's going to be some takeaways here too. It's going to be like any other show. So you might learn a little bit more about me than you want to know, but you can ask any question you want. How's that, Rick? Is that going to work? Or
that'll work. That'll work unless you want to do it a different way, but that'll work.
Maybe can I just add another little vignette, because maybe you can use that part.
Okay. Let me come out of here.
Let me think about that. So, Tom, would you say that the waistUPwardrobe weekly wrap-up in a nutshell boiled down to this: who Christine is, where she comes from, where she gets her ideas from, how she became a stylist, and where her journey is about to take her?
And so much more. There's so much more good stuff here.
Awesome. I'm totally in.
All right. That'll work.
Yeah.
I'll squeeze that in somehow. I'll edit that in. But I think, you have all the content that we normally need. And that was a good little spin.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Awesome. And Tom, just so you know, Rick is a master at editing. And so this will be really cool. So I'm really excited. Tom, we need to stay connected.
We will.
I'm going to definitely reach out to you when I create the circle people. I think you're going to really be fascinated with the quality of entrepreneurs and business owners. And I just feel like we should be talking more. So masterminding, maybe even. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for being vulnerable with me at the start, not just in the recorded, but thank you for sharing your unique place in your journey, and just know my hand's at your back and supporting you and cheering for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I will say, when I said that treat people like they're part of you, they're kids, I actually feel that energy from you. And that's so wonderful. I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Good.
Nice to be, thought of like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you get a screenshot, Christine?
Oh, no, let me do that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody has a smile. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let me just make sure everybody's eyes are open. Yep. Everybody's smiling too. Amazing. Thank you all. Thank you, Rick.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good to see
Thanks,
you again,
Rick.
Tom. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Christine, do we need anything?